Anthony, I've been on a few group rides lately where people skip turns at the front but still sprint for town signs or the cafe. It's starting to frustrate the group. What's the etiquette here? Should everyone take their fair share of work, or is it okay to sit in and save energy for the sprint?
Look, I have a totally different view of group rides than a lot of people here. It's like, I don't care if you want to sit on the back all day on a group ride. Like, there's no idea of you need to share work evenly on a group ride. Like, where did that come from? Why do you think you need to share work evenly on a group ride? Let the strongest riders ride all day.
Yeah, I think I don't know if our group is quite, it's in the, you know, minority, but that is definitely the way we do. We very much take care of the weaker riders. And if you were having a bad day or if you're not strong, there's no shame in sitting down the back and not doing a tour.
But the opposite to that, not even no shame. Like, if you're strong and you're suffering, you're like getting in the way a bit.
Yeah, it's encouraged.
No one wants somebody that's going to fall apart and have to get pushed home. So if you're doing a turn and you're on the rivet, you're zone 4, zone 5, trying to pull a turn at the front.
But what about in this instance where, there's a strong rider maybe and they aren't doing any work up the front just because they want the kudos of the sprinting to the
No, I think you've added in that strong rider part.
No, I have. I'm just saying in that scenario, if there's somebody hiding down the back, just be a bit sneaky.
Yeah, but do you not think they have like a different goal for the day? You know, say I go out on the group spin and I don't ride through and I sit on all day because I actually only want a zone 1 ride and not a zone 2 or a zone 3 ride. Or
maybe they want to sprint because they want to want to do some sprint efforts in the
it's just a bizarre. It's a bizarre.
Yeah, I'm with you. I
take on group spin that we all have to ride through and we all have to do the exact same amount of stuff. We all come from very different athletic backgrounds. We're all different categories. We all have different thresholds. The group spin is just about having a bit of crack and enjoying yourself and being social and learning to be a part of the group.
I think, I don't know if anyone from our group goes home and writes down in a little black book, oh, well, Sarah didn't do a turn today and F her
Maybe
and she shouldn't be coming out in the spin anymore. And Grania had to do all the riding up the front and Anthony was this. I just don't think anyone, I just think, whoa, what a weird perspective on the group ride if you're noticing that people aren't doing anything up the front. It's just my opinion.
Before we jump into the next question, just a shout out for the newsletter because a lot of people were asking for this and we finally put it together. We're 3+ podcasts every single week. There's 3 to 5 hours of content every week and people are missing stuff and they're missing the main point some weeks. So we decided to do a once a week 4-minute read maximum newsletter where you can get the very best 1 point, actionable point from the week's podcast guests, and it's called the Saturday Spin newsletter. And you can sign up just going to roadmancycling.com/Saturday Spin, and that's going to get you onto the newsletter. Coming hot every Saturday.
Yeah, it's really cool. Okay, last question. Anthony, we had a couple of complaints over the last couple of weeks, mostly about our segment. And every time we do talk about this on Rider Support.
Because there's so many shit group rides out there. I can see this question already. Go on, read it out.
Basically, this is one question, but there were a lot kind of, with similar sentiment. Hi Anthony, I watched your recent YouTube video where you talk about not calling things out on a group ride, and I really don't agree with this. Surely calling out stops or hazards is just common sense. If the group is pushing hard and approaching a light, shouting, stopping or slowing helps everyone back off safely, especially those on the limit or not paying full attention. The same goes for holes or debris. You might not know exactly where it is, but at least people can be aware and ready. Not calling things out seems like saying drivers shouldn't bother indicating because people should be looking ahead, but we all know that that's not realistic. Cycling inches off someone's wheel means you cannot see everything, so communication feels essential. So Anthony, what do you suggest as an alternative to call-outs? I'm genuinely curious to hear your reasoning.
I think he's hit the nail on the head that communication is essential. And that's where my problem with the call-outs is. It's an ineffective style of communication. If you're coming up and you're shouting hole, that in my experience causes more problems than it solves. That people are nervous, as he identified, people are nervous, they're on the rivet, they're not paying full attention, there may be overlapping wheels, and then you hear a loud shout, hole. And now are we meant to judge the depth of the hole from the volume of the shout? What if it's quite a meek character, has seen the hole and don't shout it loud enough and all of a sudden it's a crater? It's just an ineffective way to pass messages along. Also, the group is wide. It occupies, if it's 2 by 2, and 10 riders long, it's occupying the same space on the road as a bus nearly. So it's like you hear hole. Where's the hole? Is it front left? Is it back right? Is it right down the middle? What I advocate, and which I've only ever seen in pro groups, is smaller gestures of hand signals to point out hole. Pointing or little flicks of the wrist to show there's an obstacle on my left, there's an obstacle on the right, there's an obstacle on the centre. Nobody's getting panicked with shouts. As soon as you hear a shout, it's like, my nerves are gone. It's like, what? Where's the hole? It's
but
like,
it also becomes background noise when there's constant hole or oil or whatever. You don't hear it anymore.
Exactly.
It's too much.
And that's my kind of ultimate point, why we use hand flicks and gestures to point out holes that are, you wouldn't want to hit them, but they're not a hole it's not going to end the world and take the group down if you hit it. Now all of a sudden in a quiet group, when you hear a shout, there's a problem that everybody needs to look at.
Absolutely.
There's a car careering towards the group. There's black ice coming up. There's a huge hole in the middle of the road. There's an unmanned manhole. There's something that needs our attention. Otherwise, like, how do you escalate the previous?
I totally agree. If anyone shouts on our group spin, it's serious. You perk your ears up and you listen and you action it. I think as well his point where he's like, okay, if you're on the rivet, you're really suffering, then these shouts are essential. But I totally disagree. As somebody who is quite often on the rivet, you're not listening when you're in a world of pain like that.
But you want clear communication when you're that tired.
Exactly. Yeah, you want absolutely
actionable
clear communication.
Actionable communication that you go, okay, I can take a positive, proactive stance around alter my line, braking, whatever it is. And the other one of like stop and slowing down is just ridiculous.
Slowing. No, like, that is mental, isn't it?
Like you shouldn't be, if you're dependent on calls of stopping and slowing, you've created a total culture of inattention within your group, which is just not acceptable because you're responsible for the person's safety behind you, to the left of you, to the right of you. There's a minimum level of attention that is necessitated by a part of the group, and having like crutches like that we rely on to understand whether stop or slow. It's like, you can bring a blind person out in the group ride. They can navigate just off audio prompts.
I totally agree with you. Stopping and slowing. I mean, I have been in groups like this, and they're terrifying. It's awful, and they're always the types of groups who don't have any cohesive actions. There's no leaders. It's all over the road. It seems dangerous.
I think that's the wrong thing though. But there is a leader, but it's someone is given the wrong information, and that wrong information has been indoctrinated.
Maybe I've as I said, I've been on a couple of rides like this where people have been roaring and shouting, and I just find it that they are the most unorganized groups, and they're using the shouting, roaring, top of their voice bellowing as kind of a crutch. I mean, imagine if someone came out in our group and they hit something, they were like, oh, why didn't you shout hole? It's just, well, keep your eyes peeled.
No, but I think as well, like if I hit a hole and I'm on someone's wheel, I'm pissed. Like that's not what I'm saying here. Like,
no, I'm saying if they shouted hole.
Yeah, but like we still need to have the communication system. It needs to be such that stuff is still getting pointed out, but
totally.
Like nothing drives me more up the wall than I've broke a set of carbon wheels before in a race because some idiot just swerved around a hole at the last minute. It just needed a little small gesture for me to change my line, and so that's a pet gripe of mine also. Yeah,
so do some kind of a signal, but we're not roaring and shouting.
Have we got one to go?
Whatever works for you. We'll have one more. Anthony, that one guy on every group ride who just has to tell you they hit 400 watts for 10 seconds last week, like it's some world record. How do you deal with the power numbers guys without losing your mind? Is there a polite way to tell them to stop giving us PowerPoint presentation on their FTP mid-ride?
That's never annoyed me, really. Maybe I'm that guy.
Maybe you're that guy.
Also, 400 watts for 10 seconds. Like,
I could probably do that.
Best sprint I've ever heard. I might beat you at one leg.
I don't know. Like, this is more about how do you deal with people in life that are telling you stuff that you don't really have much interest in. It's like, have you got no social skills to kind of say, okay, we'll steer the conversation a different way?
So I think you deal with it the same way Frankie Boyle said he deals with drunk people in Glasgow pubs when they're giving them like their version of how you solve world peace and hunger. He said you just put a firm but gentle hand on their shoulder and you say, you enjoy your night, mate.
I don't know. I don't think that's that's not something you're going to do. I think you just kind of grin and bear it and be polite, and hopefully the line rolls through, and then you don't have to sit and talk to that person
So
anymore.
if you're beside me and I say, you enjoy your night, mate. Transform your indoor cycling with Rouvy, the platform that brings real world routes and augmented reality to your training. Whether you're preparing for a big event or you're just looking to explore, Rouvy lets you experience legendary rides like Alpe and Passo de Stelvio from the comfort of your home. Rouvy's unique augmented reality technology uses real-life video and GPS data to create the most realistic cycling experience available. You'll feel every climb, descent and turn with precise terrain replication, giving you an authentic outdoor ride indoors. Plus, with AR elements like avatars and banners, the ride really feels totally immersive and interactive. With over 1,500 routes and 25,000 kilometers, the world's most iconic cycling destinations, Rouvy is perfect for cyclists of all levels. Whether you want to enjoy scenic routes, participate in group rides, or push your limits with advanced training plans, Rouvy has you covered. Rouvy also offers flexible pricing, allowing you to pause your subscription or choose duo or group plans to share the experience. From exploring new places to serious training, Rouvy has something for every cyclist. Ready to ride the world? Visit rouvy.com and start your journey today.